What is up, you guys? Wowee, what a race that turned out to be at Birmingham this past weekend. And I can honestly say that was filled with a bit of everything, to say the least. What happened was Haiden Deegan came from 10th place to win the shootout on the track, but then he was given a really stupid penalty of one position for which the AMA deemed cutting the track. And I'll be frank with you, the AMA should be very ashamed of themselves because they waited for Deegan to slip up and pounced at the chance. That is one of the things you cannot do as an AMA official, especially if you're the race director. And those people know who they are, but I'm going to say right now, Seth Hammaker is the real victim of this penalty, because if he loses this championship, I don't care by how much, I guarantee you that Pro Circuit Kawasaki is going to be demanding that new people run the AMA, because the way that penalty came out was so unprofessional. I'm going to get into that in a little bit, but I'm going to deal with the 250 class only for this time, and I'm going to do the 450 class a little later. But remember, guys, subscribe if you think that I'm worth listening to, or if you just want to see some more of my games. I already have one posted. But in the meantime, let's get into this. Here comes my banner. And again, I'm only dealing with the 250 class. Cole Davies wins on Haiden Deegan penalty. Seth Hammaker is the real victim. The AMA needs to be run by new people. I'm saying that myself, and I guarantee you that Pro Circuit Kawasaki is going to be demanding that new people run the AMA, like have a new race director, new officials, new everything. Because really, those people know who they are, and I won't say any names because everybody knows who that is. But really, after this season, those people at the AMA had better be looking for new jobs at the end of the season. Not going to lie to you. When you factor in their jaded past so far, and to overturn Haiden Deegan on overturn a 10th to first ride from Haiden Deegan because of something like that is enough to make your stomach turn. And I guarantee you, if Duke Finch were still the AMA official, the head referee, he would never have issued a penalty like that in a million years, no matter how controversial Haiden Deegan can be at times. Am I on the Deegan bandwagon? Not really, but still, no rider deserves a penalty that asinine. I don't care who that person is, or even if they have a jaded past in their racing career, professional or amateur. I don't care who that is. That kind of penalty should not even exist. And like Cooksey was saying, if Deegan was doing that every lap, then okay, that might warrant the penalty. But to do it only one time, that's like a cop citing a jaywalker, citing person A for jaywalking, and person B does the same thing, and the same cop who cited person A lets person B go because person B is a smoking hot chick. Okay? That's exactly what happened when the AMA penalized Haiden Deegan. And really, that's why I say that those people at the AMA had better be looking for new jobs at the end of this season. Because to negate a 10th to first ride from someone like Deegan, who's going to the 450 class next year and has proven that he's ready to go, no. I guarantee you, Haiden Deegan is not liking that penalty one iota. Everyone else doesn't like it. People think that it's not warranted. And it was even reported by Steve Mathis that Ezra Lusk has left the AMA because Maybe because he got word of that penalty on Haiden Deegan. And if I'm the AMA race director, I'm not issuing that penalty at all because I know good racing when I see it. And notoriously, personally, I'm a pretty good judge of character. But when it comes to guys like Jason Lawrence or anybody else like that, nah, they do that. I'm still not issuing a penalty unless it's absolutely egregious. And what Haiden Deegan did was certainly not egregious and did not gain an advantage in any way, shape, or form. No two ways about it. He did not advance any positions. He did not gain any time. And if he had gotten sideways, and heaven forbid, if he had gotten sideways and swapped into the other lane, I'm sure the AMA would take that into consideration. But if they don't, yeah, that's proof the AMA is run by a bunch of idiots. And those people know who they are. I'm not kidding. That's why I say that those people at the AMA had better be looking for new jobs at the end of this season. And to be frank, why do I say that Seth Hammaker is the real victim? Because he crossed the line in third, Cole Davies crossed in second. And because of Haiden Deegan's penalty, Hammaker loses 5 points instead of 3 to Cole Davies. And really, why would you issue a penalty like that? And that's why I say that if Seth Hammaker loses this title, whether it's by 2 points or 6 points or more, I guarantee you Pro Circuit Kawasaki is going to be demanding for new AMA officials or a new race or a new race director. Not going to lie to you. Now, as for the racing, that was some damn good racing for sure between Deegan and Cole Davies and Joe Shimoda and Seth Hammaker. And to be frank, I thought that was Seth Hammaker's on a silver platter because Joe Shimoda was putting so much heat on Hammaker and he was withstanding all of it until Shimoda got around. And then Hammaker looked like he might have hit a wall, but then he found a second win and he was able to get by Shimoda in the closing stages and turn that into a third-place ride after Shimoda bobbled on the final lap. So to be frank, the AMA has got to be run by people who know they're racing when they see it. If they're like some people who are just waiting for someone to trip up and give them a penalty, like what they did with Haiden Deegan, you are no better than the rider themselves who commit egregious acts on the track. If it was a flagrant takeout, yeah, that might warrant a penalty. And I can look back on some things that may have warranted a penalty or did, and somehow was proved to be a miscarriage of justice. How many of you guys remember 2006 when Ricky Carmichael and Team Suzuki were docked 25 points, or Carmichael was docked 25 points because the Suzuki had too much lead in the fuel? And Chad Reed and Team Yamaha were in that boat in 2004. Their appeal was denied, and yet somehow Chad Reed still pulled out the championship because he still had a sizable gap. And the sad part about what happened with Ricky Carmichael is it took a press conference that became a masterpiece for the media, where Carmichael said he threatened to sit out the rest of the 2006 Supercross season if the AMA did not go back and reconsider their penalty. And although, from what I had read, supposedly, the AMA's ruling was consistent with the lead amounts in the fuel, but they succumbed to the scrutiny and refunded Carmichael's points. You look at it this way, the AMA almost ruined a down-to-the-wire season from Carmichael Stewart and Chad Reed, all because of that penalty that got overturned. Some were saying it was a miscarriage of justice. I'm in the latter part. I'm in between on that because I'd have hated to see Carmichael quit the season because of that kind of penalty. But at the time, those people had heads on their shoulders. Not going to lie to you. And to be frank, I thought that was the right move all around, even though I didn't agree with it. But still, if you're going to stand by your ruling, go look for new jobs. You know who you are. Because seriously, you're about to ruin a possible championship season for Pro Circuit Kawasaki in Seth Hammaker, and especially considering that Pro Circuit has not had a title in almost 10 years. Okay? So really, you negated a 10th to first ride from Haiden Deegan and may very well have ruined a championship run for a team like Pro Circuit Kawasaki and a rider like Seth Hammaker. So all I can say to you is, to the AMA is, congratulations, you just earned a PhD in questionable thinking. You waited for a rider to slip up like Haiden Deegan and gave him a penalty on the spot. Okay? And if there are no reconsiderations, then yeah, the head director and all the officials or whoever's running the AMA had better look for new jobs at the end of this season. And that's where I'll leave it. So anyway, guys, that's all for today. I'm going to get to the 450 class a little later. And I will have my recap of UH men's basketball falling to Arkansas last week, Thursday, and a season summary as well. But in the meantime, remember, subscribe, and I'll see you all again. And I'll do my first softball recap of the season because UH will be taking on CSUN tonight in a single matchup. I didn't go to the Fullerton game because of some really bad weather in my area. But no doubt I'm going to this one for sure. So thanks, guys. Subscribe. I'll see you all for the 450 recap later.